You reach into your pocket, you pull out a coin, you glance at it for half a second, hand it over, and move on. You've done it 1,000 times. You've never once thought about the edge. But behind that edge hide two secrets pressed into every coin in your pocket. Today, we uncover them both. Welcome to Everyday Secrets, where ordinary things reveal extraordinary histories. To understand this, we have to meet a man already famous for his research on gravity and calculus, when a different crisis pulled him from his equations. In 1696, England was drowning in fraud. Criminals were shaving thin slivers of silver from coin edges, melting them down, selling the metal, while passing the lighter coins at full value. They called it clipping, and it was bleeding the kingdom dry. The method required almost nothing: a pair of small shears, a file, a dark corner of a market or tavern. You shaved a strip from the edge. You pocketed the metal. You passed the coin as though nothing had happened. By the 1690s, estimates suggested that a significant portion of silver coins in circulation had lost between a quarter and a third of their original metal, while still being traded at full value. Merchants began weighing coins instead of trusting them. Prices climbed. Debts became impossible to settle fairly. The currency was visibly failing. England needed a solution. What it got was Isaac Newton, the man who had already rewritten the laws of the universe. He became warden of the Royal Mint, moved into the Tower of London, and did not manage the crisis from a distance. He went into the streets. He visited prisons and taverns, gathered evidence, identified forgers personally, and built prosecutions with the same methodical precision he brought to mathematics. More than 24 people were executed under his direct oversight. But the most important thing Newton oversaw wasn't the prosecutions. It was the recoinage, a complete replacement of every clipped and degraded silver coin in circulation. And those new coins had something the old ones had lacked: ridges on every edge. Here's what actually happens when a reeded coin is struck. A blank disc of metal is placed inside a steel collar ring. The inside of that collar is cut with a precise pattern of grooves. When the press strikes the coin, the metal flows outward under enormous pressure and is forced into those grooves. The result is uniform to a degree no hand tool can match. A modern American quarter carries exactly 119 ridges. A dime carries 118. Those numbers are not accidents. They are specifications, and that precision is the entire point. Because clipping destroys the edge. Even removing the thinnest sliver of metal damages the ridge pattern in a way that is immediately visible in daylight. Think of it like a tamper seal on medicine. The instant it's broken, you know someone's been inside. One glance at a smooth edge was proof the coin had been tampered with. Merchants could reject it on the spot. The crime became worthless overnight. In England, an estimated 10% of all silver in circulation had been stolen this way. Without the ridges, the currency would have collapsed. Here's where the story flips. Newton didn't deploy those ridges for beauty or tradition. He deployed them as a weapon. But then something unexpected happened. The silver in the coins disappeared. By the 20th century, most coins were no longer made of precious metal. The American quarter today is 91% copper and 8% nickel. Clipping a modern coin would yield a fragment of alloy worth a fraction of a cent. And here's the detail that surprises almost everyone. Some coins never got ridges at all. The American penny, the nickel, always too cheap to clip. Only the dime and the quarter kept them, the coins once worth dying for. 3 centuries later, the silver is gone, but you can still read the entire history of the crime in the difference between which coins are smooth and which are not. But that's only the first secret. Because there's something else about those ridges, and it has nothing to do with crime. The second secret starts in the 20th century. Vending machines were spreading everywhere: subway stations, factories, airports, and they needed to identify coins instantly without human eyes. Engineers faced a real problem. How do you teach a machine to tell a dime from a penny when both are small, round, and silver colored? The answer was already pressed into the edge. Today, vending machines use sensors to read a coin's edge texture and diameter in a single scan. But the bigger surprise is accessibility. For visually impaired people, the ridged edge of a dime is the only way to identify it by touch. And here's the detail that stops almost everyone cold. The American dime is smaller than the penny, but worth 10 times as much. Without its ridges, there is no way to tell them apart. Next time you hold a handful of coins, try this. Close your eyes and sort them by edge alone. Ridge to one side, smooth to the other. You'll sort them faster than you think. We built a defense against a crime that no longer exists. And kept it because it turned out to solve two problems no one had ever planned for. A groove pressed into silver by a man who also mapped the laws of the universe. If any of this surprised you, hit the like button. Share it with someone who thinks money is still made of silver. And subscribe to Everyday Secrets, because the most ordinary things always have the most extraordinary histories.